let's see you. You're canceling us again. Why? For what? See, they don't give a shit about you. They don't give two. There's 50 of you, and there's one of me here who spends the most money here. You little. Yeah, Arthur, you little. You want to kick me off? Kick me off, you little piece of. You're an Uber driver. Go drive, you little. Minimum wage. Go yourself. See you later. Go pick up another. You're working all day. Guess what? I'm gonna go sit on my watch TV. You.
Oof, that hard-to-watch video you just saw was a University of Michigan frat brother berating an Uber driver for apparently canceling a ride. The driver was able to film it all. That college freshman named Jake Croman is now under investigation by his fraternity. Something else worth noting, the Daily News says Croman's father is a notorious landlord in New York City who's under investigation for forcing tenants out of their rent-stabilized homes. A nurse in New York is surrendering her license after she was convicted of taking photos of unconscious patients' private parts. 27-year-old Kristen Johnson worked at Upstate University Hospital in Syracuse. She pleaded guilty last year to misdemeanor dissemination of unlawful surveillance photos after police discovered she'd taken photos of 2 unconscious patients' genitals in 2014 and sent them to colleagues. Johnson had faced a felony charge, but the sentence was reduced after she agreed to give up her license. New York State's Board of Regents says Johnson did not contest the charge of moral unfitness in the practice. She also faces 3 years of probation.
North Carolina faces a growing backlash over a new law that's blocking protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. Protesters spilled into the streets of Raleigh last night. More than 80 business leaders released a letter yesterday calling for a repeal of the measure. They include Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and Apple's Tim Cook. North Carolina's largest corporation, that's Bank of America, also tweeted that it wants a repeal.
In North Carolina, the governor called a special session to set up a state bathroom policy for government bathrooms.
We're going to set a statewide standard for who belongs in which bathroom.
This would be the most sweeping anti-LGBT bill in the nation.
Girls like me should never be forced to undress or shower in the presence of boys.
The law mandates government bathrooms be separated primarily by biological sex. It does not set standards for bathrooms in private businesses. It sounds straightforward, but the national outcry has been fierce. The ACLU filed a federal lawsuit Monday against the state. The mayors of Seattle, San Francisco, and the governor of New York have banned non-essential publicly funded travel to North Carolina. And the NBA is threatening to move its 2017 All-Star game out of Charlotte. In Georgia this week, that kind of corporate pressure led the governor to veto a severely watered-down religious liberty bill. The bill provided protection for pastors who don't want to perform same-sex weddings, but not for wedding vendors who don't want to serve them. Still, multiple high-powered corporations from the NFL to Netflix, Time Warner, and Disney threatened to leave Georgia if the governor signed the bill. On Monday, the governor stunned many in the faith community when he vetoed the measure.
I do not think that we have to discriminate against anyone to protect the faith-based community in Georgia.
Everyone that I spoke to is outraged. We really are, because we were surprised that Governor Deal would bow down to Hollywood, the NFL.
Pastor Garland Hunt says believers in Georgia are now rallying to reverse what the governor has done. While in North Carolina, they're hoping the government won't give in, despite enormous pressure to reverse the new law.
In Central Park, an ominous symbol of dissatisfaction found planted not far from Trump Tower. A headstone with Trump's name on it was discovered in the sheet meadow earlier today. At the bottom of the headstone was written, "Made America Hate Again." The tombstone has been removed.
The FBI is investigating after hackers crippled computer systems at major hospitals network in the Washington area. MedStar administrators say there's no evidence of compromised information, but a virus stopped doctors and nurses from accessing email accounts and medical records. Authorities are trying to figure out if that virus is so-called ransomware. That's when hackers extort money in exchange for restoring services.
Today, President Obama said that America's addiction to painkillers is as great a threat as terrorism. Each day, 78 Americans die from overdoses of opioids, which include prescription drugs and heroin.
Plymouth, population 56,000, is nicknamed America's hometown. 25 people here died from heroin overdoses last year. Across the country, opioid deaths, whether caused by pain pills or heroin, jumped 372% from 2000 to 2014. In cities like Plymouth, 911 calls for overdoses are up 500% in 2 years. On weekends, it's as many as 4 a day. EMT Jeff Jacobson.
The mean age of the overdose is now dropping into the low 20s. We've had overdoses, opiate overdoses, as low as 14 years old.
Davis Owen was 20 when the former Georgia high school class president died from a heroin overdose. Missy Owen is Davis's mother.
All these kids that are dying, they're no different than Davis. They're high achievers, they're fun, they're beautiful kids from exceptional families, and they're dropping like flies.
The FBI has successfully hacked the encrypted iPhone of one of the San Bernardino terrorists. A third party bypassed the phone's security after Apple refused to help. The FBI will now drop the lawsuit it filed to force Apple to help. Agents are now analyzing the phone's information retrieved in hopes of uncovering more information about the December terrorist attack.
Everything I've been telling my patients for the last 10 years has been based on a lie.
Vaxxed has been axed from New York's Tribeca Film Festival. This trailer posted online is all that audiences can see of the documentary Vaxxed, From Cover-Up to Catastrophe. The film was scheduled for a high-profile screening at the festival late next month.
Bob, you got something to say? Bob.
Until festival co-founder Robert De Niro pulled it from the schedule on Saturday. De Niro, whose son has autism, issued a statement saying, "My intent in screening this film was to provide an opportunity for conversation around an issue that is deeply personal to me and my family. But after reviewing it, we do not believe it contributes to or furthers the discussion I had hoped for." Vax producer Del Bigtree says canceling the screening amounts to a suppression of the truth.
I have nothing but respect for Robert De Niro and Tribeca. I can't imagine what type of pressure came down that would make them pull a movie that they were obviously behind in the beginning.
The film argues that government interests have suppressed evidence of links between vaccines and autism.
This is going to be a complete catastrophe if we just let it happen.
It's Good Friday, and in Europe that means a strict traditional observance of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Unless, of course, you are a radical Muslim refugee taught that the crucifixion basically never happened, or at the very least, its meaning is completely different than the Christian understanding. Nevertheless, Spisa reports, Pope Francis washed and kissed the feet of 12 young asylum seekers to show the international community the importance of providing refugees shelter, said an official in the Vatican. Pope Francis has repeatedly asked Europe to open its doors to refugees, and at the Palm Sunday Mass, he asked the world not to turn its back on people in need. And as Good Friday is observed, Belgian police hunt down more suspects in the recent Brussels bombing. Meanwhile, Europe, shell-shocked by the attacks in Paris and Brussels, succumbs to the will of their radicalized foreign invaders, where Stockholm Syndrome is literally exploding. As the Gateway pundit reports, Swedish women are showing their support for Islam by taking selfies in hijabs after the Brussels bombings, wrongly accusing Swedish men for attacks on Muslim women, while Swedish women are raped in record numbers by refugees and Muslim women are treated worse than any feminist could ever comprehend by a third world misogynistic society they are supposedly fleeing from. It's an inconceivable situation, a clockwork orange, if you will. A radical Islamic horde has been given the golden ticket by NWO puppets to carve out an Islamic caliphate from London to Rome to Brussels. Express UK reports evil ISIS have trained 400 fighters to target Europe in a deadly wave of attacks. The terror group has apparently deployed interlocking terror cells like the ones that struck in Brussels and Paris, with chilling orders to choose the time, place, and method for maximum carnage. Is it any wonder why the far-right's numbers in Europe are skyrocketing, as average Europeans, out of sheer desperation, are rushing by any means necessary to defend their nation, safety, children, religion, and their very lives? The Daily Mail reports Vorpost, a Belgian white power organization that is being closely monitored by security services, says its membership has rocketed following the carnage in Brussels. Voorpost leader Bart van Pachtenbeke said, "For a small country that is massive, our support has increased by 25%. People are realizing that everything we have been saying was right." He added, "Our government are world champions of looking away and pretending there isn't a problem. They are cowards and people are fed up with it. What will it take to mobilize real action, liberated from the New World Order's control of the soft invasion? Will it take nuclear terrorism?" As the UN's IAEA chief, Yukiya Amano, warned, member states need to have sustained interest in strengthening nuclear security, Amano said. The countries which do not recognize the danger of nuclear terrorism is the biggest problem. Amano's comments came before a summit of around 50 leaders in Washington on ensuring that nuclear material in the world's roughly 1,000 atomic facilities are secured. The Brussels bombers may have been very close to infiltrating one of Belgium's nuclear power plants. As Sputnik International reveals, the Bakraoui brothers had been monitoring the home of the director of the Belgian nuclear research program for months. But the arrest of parachuter Salah Abdeslam hastened the terror network to downgrade their plans and launch the attack in Brussels, Belgium, killing 31 and wounding dozens.